Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Annyeonghaseyo. That is all I know. So I will try to speak slowly and clearly today. I hope everybody can hear me. Of course, we will have translation for some parts if it is necessary. Please, as I am talking today, think about some questions and I would be happy to answer those afterwards. So my name is Garrod McCarthy. I am the International Manager for Medicine and Health Programs at University College Cork, National University of Ireland. So all of the international activity that we have for pharmacy, medicine, dentistry, nursing, public health, all of those programs, I support all of our international activity. I know Prestige UHAC very well. We're good friends. We have been working together for some time and they know UCC very well. So with me and with them, I hope we can give you some good advice today. So my presentation today, I will talk a little bit generally about UCC, about Cork, where we are based, and then I will focus more on our pharmacy program. So first, a little bit about Ireland. We're in Europe. We're in the western part of Europe. We are next to the United Kingdom. As you can see by the flag, Ireland is west of the United Kingdom. And then the country of Ireland, we are based in the south part. So we are the second largest city in Ireland. Dublin in the east is the capital, and Cork in the south is the second largest city. We are very well connected to the rest of Europe. So in Cork, we have an international airport, so you can fly to London in less than 1 hour. There are approximately 10 flights every day. You can fly to Paris, you can fly to Amsterdam, and other countries within Europe. So if you cannot fly directly to Korea, but for example, many of the students would fly from Seoul to London and then London to Cork. And it's quite convenient to do it that way. So this is Ireland, an English-speaking country. We have a total of about 5 million people. So it's a very, very small country. And in fact, Ireland, the island, is approximately the same size as South Korea. But our population is 5 million. I believe your population is about 50 million, 50. So you have a much bigger population than we do. A couple of points about Ireland. You don't require a visa to come into the country, but after you arrive, you will need to register with immigration. And that's for every student, so that they know where you are and that they have your details and they know the reason why you're in the country. But the process is quite easy. Now, if you are interested in studying the pharmacy degree, which I'll talk about in a moment, in fact, you will be able to stay in Ireland for 2 years, not 1 year after you graduate. Our pharmacy program is a master and a bachelor together. You will be able to stay after you graduate for 2 years. And now, because of Brexit, we are the only English-speaking country in the European Union. We're a very, very important country for manufacturing and for products such as pharmaceutical products, medical technology, internet communication technology, which I will talk about in a moment. So University College Cork is located in Cork. Like I said, about 250,000 people live in Cork City. So it's a small city, but it doesn't feel small. It's quite It's quite spread out. There is a lot of industry, a very young population living in the city, people from many, many different cultures and backgrounds. So it's a very multicultural city. Lots of people come from all over the world to live and to work in Cork, because we have a very, very big economy and a very successful economy there. So some of the people who talked about us we're always voted to be very friendly. I think Irish people are very welcoming of people who come from other countries. I think our story in Ireland is quite similar to your story in South Korea. Maybe 50, 60 years ago, we were quite a poor country, but then we really developed our economy with foreign direct investments and with exports, and our economy has grown very rapidly, very similar to South Korea's economy. These are just some pictures of the city. This is, at the top, is one of our famous food markets. The Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, visited a few years ago. Is the largest river to go through our city. It's called the River Lee. We have lots of cafes, bars, restaurants, so lots for people to do and enjoy themselves. And then if you want to travel out of the city, you go very quickly and be into very beautiful countryside very quickly, 10 or 15 minutes, where you can go swimming in the cold water, or you can go hiking in the forest. We have lots of castles and very old heritage. It's a very beautiful countryside. These are some of our sports, some of the castles. We love music like you do, so there are very many opportunities to see live music. And we like food very much. So as well as, enjoying yourself and entertainment and the lifestyle, it's very, very busy in terms of employment opportunities and industry. So to give you an example of some of the companies which have their European headquarters in Cork, they include Apple, and Apple employs many, many people, including many of our graduates from UCC. Dell Technologies has their Center of Excellence and headquarters in Cork. Pfizer, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, has their European headquarters here. One of their most important facilities in the world is based here in Cork. But we have many others. These are an example of some of the companies who have their headquarters in Cork. And if you look at the left side for pharmacy, 9 out of the 10 biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world have their major location based here in Cork. GSK, Janssen or Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly, Pfizer, Novartis. These are all big players in the pharmaceutical industry. Why am I telling you about this? Because there will be fantastic opportunities for our graduates to go and work in these industries after they graduate and while they are studying also, because we have very strong connections with these pharma companies. So just to give you an idea about the living expenses in Cork. So Ireland is a very developed country, and therefore the cost of living is quite expensive. But if you ask me, I think some things are more expensive in South Korea. Maybe some things are more expensive here in Cork, but basically approximately the same, I would think. UCC, we have a lot of accommodation options. So we own 26 different apartment complexes based around the university, and these are reserved for our students. Now, if you are an international student coming in to study at UCC, we will give you priority in terms of access to that accommodation because there is very, very high demand. And we do that because we know for many students, they're coming to Ireland for the first time, they have traveled very far, they're not familiar with the country, so we want to make sure that you are safe and happy and that you can settle in quickly and focus on your studies. So these costs are approximately what you would have, but really it depends on you, the student. If you have expensive taste, then it will be more expensive than this, or maybe it can be cheaper. So the range, we would say, is approximately 850 to 1,300 per month to manage your food and your accommodation, something like that. So, to UCC. So UCC, for our campus, it's a very old campus, it's a very beautiful campus. It's located in the city centre, so it really is very convenient. International students ask me all of the time about whether they need to have a car or whether they need to use taxis very often. And I say, no, if you enjoy walking, then you can walk everywhere that you need to walk in Cork. About 10 minutes, you can walk into the city centre. Our campus is quite contained, so most of the departments are located close to each other. We have the pharmacy building is located on the western side of the campus. It's a new building, but it is a city centre campus. This is the original part. So it was founded in 1845 by Queen Victoria. And at that time, Ireland was still part of the United Kingdom. But since 1922, we're an independent country, and we changed the name from Queen's University to UCC. So this is the original part. We call it the quadrangle. Our students love this part. It looks beautiful. Many of them compare it to Harry Potter. In fact, we have a very, very busy Harry Potter society at UCC that many of our students, Irish students, international students, join this Harry Potter society every year. So we have approximately 22,000 students on the campus. More than 3,500 of those students are international students. And last year, we had approximately 104 different nationalities on the campus. So we're very, very well represented. We have lots of students who come from Canada, USA, Brazil, China, India, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, and we also have some students from South Korea, but not too many. We would like to see more, but I guess for you, it's maybe a good thing if there are not too many Korean students, because then you have a better opportunity to practice your English, to get to experience a new culture, and you don't stay only with Korean students on campus all of the time. So sometimes that might be difficult, but in the end, it will be more beneficial for you, I promise. Our ranking is in the top 2% in the world. So we're up there with a lot of very, very good universities in the world. Our pharmacy program is probably one of our superstar programs at the university, which is ranked within the top 100 in the world. And it's closer to number 50 in the world than it is to number 100 in the world. So we're very close to top 50 in the world, and we would like to be a top 50 pharmacy school very soon again. Our students who come onto campus, yes, we want you to work hard, but we also very much want you to enjoy yourself. Particularly our medicine and health students, pharmacy, dentistry, medicine. We want you to be very engaged with the community. We want you to travel when you have some free time to places in Africa to help and to do some really good work, because we want to build you as a human being, as well as building you as a future career in pharmacy. So we have hundreds of clubs and societies that you can join. These are just an example of some of our current students. They are the world champion rowers. The guy at the front with the beard, he is currently a medicine student, but he is also an Olympic champion and a world champion for rowing. Within our university, we have colleges, or like faculties. And one of the faculties in the university is the Faculty of Medicine and Health. And then in those, we have schools. So we have the university, we have the colleges, and then we have the schools. And one of those, as you can see, is the School of Pharmacy. along with public health, medicine, therapies, dentistry, nursing, and midwifery. These are the buildings that our College of Medicine and Health uses. On the top left, we have Brookfield Health Sciences Complex. On the right, we have what we call the ASSERT Centre, which stands for Advanced Simulation, Education, Research and Training. It's a lot. So here we have simulation, and we have simulated labs and simulated hospital wards where students go to practice. Also at the bottom, we have a very large, what we call the Western Gateway building, and some of your classes will be in there. So we very much focus on clinical skills. And when you come to study at pharmacy, all of you will be given a mentor. So one of the academics, one of the professors will act as your mentor, not only for study, but also personally. So if you have a problem, you can speak with them. If they notice if you have a problem, they will come and speak to you. And this support is very important to us, because within the School of Pharmacy, we like to feel like a family. And as a result, because we have this good support, we very, very rarely have students who will fail. So if you start pharmacy at UCC, almost 100% you will graduate from pharmacy at UCC successfully, because we want to support you along all of your journey as a student at the university. Now we have the School of Pharmacy, which is quite new. So the building on the top left, it was opened in 2006. So it's about 14 years old. It's a very modern building. It's very open. It has great laboratory facilities, classroom, study, canteen facilities. So students are very happy to remain and study in this building. And I guess as the School of Pharmacy, what we want to create pharmacists that are educated to the highest standards, especially to work in both the healthcare and the pharmaceutical industry. So sometimes students ask me, what is the difference between an M-Pharm in Ireland or doing the PharmD in the USA? And I would answer that in our M-Pharm program, we do have a lot of focus on the pharmaceutical industry. And of course, because the pharmaceutical industry is so big, is so important to us, that we have very, very strong connections. Some of our students want to work in community pharmacy settings. Some of them want to work in hospital clinical settings, but also many others want to go and work in the industry. So we really want to develop all of those skills for our students. And to give you some of the main points about the program. So, as I said earlier, it's a 5-year integrated program. That means it is the bachelor degree and the master's degree integrated as one program. After 4 years, you will have your Bachelor of Pharmacy, your B-Pharm, and then you do 1 additional year, and now you have your M-Pharm. And during that time, we will have different work placement opportunities, but especially for your 4th year and your 5th year. So in your 4th year, you can do up to 6 months work experience, and this can be in the hospital or it can be in the industry. You can do it in Ireland or you do it internationally. For example, if you want to return to Korea to do that work experience in 4th year, we can help you to do that. And in the 5th year, we do 8 months work experience, but this is based in Ireland, and it needs to be in a clinical setting, such as a hospital or a community pharmacy. So when you graduate from your M-Pharm at UCC, you really will have 2 qualifications. You will be a registered pharmacist, which is the basic one, but you will also have what we call QP status. And QP stands for Qualified Person Status. And this is a qualification specifically for the pharmaceutical industry. And it will allow you to work in the pharma industry and to oversee the creation of new drugs. So for example, you can go into the laboratories, you can supervise the testing, the mixing, the creation, and the selling of new drugs. So it's a very, very important qualification. And this QP status is recognized, for example, internationally by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. In Ireland, it is the Health Professional Regulation Authority, HPRA, are the people who oversee that qualification, but it is transferable internationally. Automatically, it is transferable throughout all of Europe, and then you can also make it registered, for example, in Korea, but you would need to do a registration test when you return to Korea to make sure that the Korean Pharmaceutical Society will recognize the qualification from Ireland, but that should not be any problem. So we have approximately 80 students who we take onto the program every year. So that's quite a reasonable number. It's not too many. And approximately 10% of those will be international students who come onto the program every year. So we have about 10 international students every year coming into that. Just the ethos of the school, we're very, very focused on professionalism. And we want our students to be work ready, but also world ready. So that when you come out, you are very familiar with the workplace environment. You are very familiar with how to behave and think and act professionally, and that you also have the academic knowledge. And we want all of those things to be covered so that you can do really, really well in your career. All of our professors are research active. They must be. So they are doing cutting edge, world-class research. They need to be publishing papers. So of course, because they are very active in research, they communicate this to you in the classroom. So you become a very, very effective researcher. You know all of the most up-to-date research that is happening in pharmacy, and that's very important if you want to go into a company, because technology, medicines are always changing quickly, and you need to be at the very front of that compared to other pharmacy schools. We really want you to start thinking for yourself, so we train you how to become more of an independent thinker. And as a result of this, when you graduate from pharmacy at UCC, so I did the research about the employment record for students for the last 5 years who studied pharmacy at UCC, and our employment record is 100%. So if you study pharmacy at UCC for the last 5 years, you will get a job. You can work in a community pharmacy, you can work in a clinical setting, or you can work in industry. In fact, we discovered for the last 3 years that we don't have enough graduates to fill job demand, especially in industry. Like I said, the pharmaceutical industry in Ireland, and specifically in Cork, is very, very big, and we need lots of workers for it. Next one looks very, very complicated, but we'll just look at it quickly. So this is to give you an idea of the sort of modules you will study over the 5 years. For example, in your first year, you will look at biochemistry, physiology, anatomy, but you will also look at things like professionalism and professional practice. So like I said, we're developing you professionally and academically and personally from the very start. In year 1, 2, and 3, we will also have small, what we call shadow placements. So for 1 day or 2 days during these first 3 years, you will go into hospital settings. You will be joined with medical students and dentistry students, because we want you to share your learning across all of the other subjects, and we want you to learn from other subjects like the medical students, the dentistry students, for example. And then in your third year, you can do, or your fourth year, you can do up to 6-month placement. And this can be in industry, in clinical, in community pharmacy. It can be based in Ireland, or it can be based overseas. And we make sure that you find this, and we will guarantee to put you into a placement. Now, you also have the opportunity to be paid for these placements. So in fourth year and in fifth year, for these placements, you will have the opportunity to be paid. So if you go into a company for 6 months, the hope is that this company will agree to pay you while you're doing it. So I think that's good for you. At least you're learning, but you're also getting some payment at the same time. So I will leave this presentation with you afterwards, so you can take a look at this in a little bit more detail afterwards. I talked about the pharmaceutical industry. Ireland is one of the world's largest exporters of medicines. We have many, many people employed in this sector in Ireland, and there are very, very good employment opportunities, like I've explained to you already. Of course, our School of Pharmacy has very strong links with the pharmaceutical industry, so our industry partnerships and our work placements with them is very, very useful and good. I've talked already about the program. It's the 5-year, the MPharm really is the one that is relevant to you. If you look at PG or the postgraduate, these programs are done online. So these are a program that you would do, and you would still be based in Korea, so it's not really relevant. But of course, at the bottom, you have PhD. So after you finish your MPharm, if you want to become an academic or a researcher, of course, there are many opportunities for you to go and continue studying at doctorate PhD level. So in the program, we like to link ourselves to what we call core competency framework. So basically, this is an international standards where we want to create the best pharmacists coming out of UC. And we look at areas like professionalism, personal skills, supply of medicines, the safe use of medicine, public health, and organization and management skills. So for example, if you wanted to open your own pharmacy shop, then you need to know how to manage the opening of that and be a manager, as well as be a good pharmacist and a dispenser of drugs, as well as having the personal skills to be able to speak with patients and customers who are coming to talk to you. So this core competency framework is, our UCC is linked to international standards, and that's what makes our degree so transferable all over the world. So I'm nearly finished now. Like I said, we're always trying to advance our program. We want to be at the cutting edge, at the very front of what is happening in pharmacy research and pharmacy practice. So we always do that. We bring in guest lecturers from industry to give us the most up-to-date discussions around what's happening in industry. As I said, students will go into hospitals to see what is happening, and we will share our learning across the other professions. So doctors, pharmacists, public health practitioners, all share the knowledge, and we make sure that while you are studying, that you are also learning from these other professionals. So interprofessional learning is very important. Now, after you graduate, there will be opportunities for you in Ireland. There will be opportunities for you throughout Europe. Perhaps some students will want to go to the USA or Canada or something like that. There are opportunities there. But maybe some of you would like to return to South Korea to work. So usually what will happen is you will register with the South Korea Pharmacy Society, and then you will need to do a registration exam when you return there. And that's for everybody, for every country. Now, we recommend for students who are returning to another country to do an internship, a short internship in that country. It's not necessary, it's not a 100% requirement, but we recommend it. So for example, if you return to South Korea, we would recommend you do a 2-month internship in Korea and then do your registration exam. And the reason is because there will be little differences between different countries in terms of the medical needs, the profile of the people who are seeking medicines. For example, certain diseases might be more common in Ireland, in Europe, than they are in South Korea. Some of the laws might be a little bit different in terms of how you give drugs out to people. Or if you're in industry, the law might be different in how you validate and produce drugs. There may be also different procedures for how you do it. So we would recommend a short internship followed by your registration exam. The short answer is almost zero. For the international students, they will always pass. The worst thing that usually happens is usually in May every year, we do the exams, and maybe if a student fails some subject in May, they get the opportunity to repeat that exam in August. And then almost all of the students successfully get their exams. For the international students, it's almost 100%. Of course, sometimes there may be a student who will leave the program or will fail the program, but usually that's because there is another issue, maybe a family issue or something like that. But we have a very, very low failure rate in the pharmacy program. It's the same for dentistry, for medicine, for nursing. The health programs, because we give so much mentoring and support, that almost all of the students will be successful. If you're good enough to get into the program, you will be good enough to get out of the program. Okay, good, actually, yeah, that's a very good point. So the fees for the program are 20,000 euros per year. So that is the maximum fee, and that is the same for each of the 5 years. However, for students who are presenting with good grades, with a good English language level, we will do a scholarship interview with them. And if they are successful, then they automatically qualify for a 25% scholarship discount. So many students are successful with this because, people like you, Sunju, you select the students carefully for us anyway. And so many students are successful. So a lot of our international students are currently paying 15,000 euros per year as the fees. Once you get it at the beginning, that will continue, that will apply for all of the 5 years. Yes, so it's 6.5 IELTS. It will be the equivalent for TOEFL or the Cambridge exams or the Pearson exams. Now, currently, because in some countries, the IELTS testing centers are closed, we are accepting the Duolingo online English test for this year. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for dialing in. It made you a little bit interested. I hope I answered all of your questions. Please keep in contact with Sunju and if you need any further information, and I'm happy to help you also if you need anything else. So thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.